You can usually recognize a deep thinker not by what they say, but by the spaces between their words. That pause before they speak isn't hesitation, it's precision. Their mind is filtering through layers of thought, searching for the truest version of what they mean. Words matter to them. They understand how language shapes reality, how a sentence can heal or harm. And so they speak carefully, which can make others think they're shy or withdrawn. But the truth is, they're listening to everything: the tone, the subtext, the silence between sentences. Because to them, communication isn't just about what's said, it's about what's felt. Psychologically, this kind of awareness is tied to high empathy and pattern recognition. Deep thinkers are constantly reading emotional data. They notice micro-expressions, subtle changes in voice, tiny shifts in energy that reveal what someone's not saying out loud. They process the world like a detective of emotion, scanning for patterns that others overlook. But this kind of mind comes with a strange side effect. When you can see through things, it's hard to stay blind. You start noticing inconsistencies. How people say one thing and do another. How society glorifies happiness while hiding its pain. How perfection is an illusion we're all taught to chase. And once you start seeing that clearly, it changes how you relate to the world. You stop craving surface validation. You crave truth instead. That's why deep thinkers are often drawn to art, philosophy, writing, or solitude. Not because they're avoiding life, but because they're trying to understand it. They need spaces where their minds can stretch without judgment, finding comfort in books, music, or long walks where thoughts can unfold freely. They might not talk much, but when they do, it's with intention. They prefer conversations that awaken something, ideas that linger after the words are gone. But for all their insight, deep thinkers struggle with something profound: mental noise. Their thoughts don't stop. It's like standing in front of 10 radio stations, all playing at once, each broadcasting a different frequency of memory, idea, and question. Even when they try to rest, their brain keeps rewinding, rewriting, predicting. And while most people can distract themselves with noise, deep thinkers drown in silence, because silence amplifies everything inside. This often leads to what psychologists call rumination, the repetitive focus on problems, feelings, or mistakes. For many deep thinkers, it's not about being negative. It's about seeking resolution. Their mind wants closure, wants to understand, wants to make sense of contradictions. But not every question has an answer. And learning that can be one of their hardest lessons. There's a story about a philosopher who once said, "I think, therefore I am." It sounds profound, but for a deep thinker, it's almost a curse. Because thinking confirms their existence, but it can also consume it. They can think themselves into corners, analyzing love until it feels mechanical, studying fear until it becomes predictable. They can know so much about emotion that they forget to feel it. And sometimes the most difficult thing for a deep thinker to do is to simply experience life without dissecting it. But when they learn that balance, when they allow thought to serve feeling instead of replacing it, they become extraordinary. Because deep thinkers at their best are bridges. They connect logic with empathy, intellect with intuition. They can analyze pain and still hold compassion for it. They can see the flaws in humanity and still choose to love it. That's rare. That's wisdom, not just intelligence. A deep thinker doesn't see people as good or bad. They see them as stories. They understand that everyone is shaped by unseen battles, by experiences that left marks invisible to the eye. So they forgive easily, but they forget rarely. They may let go of people, but not the lessons those people taught them. They carry those lessons quietly, turning them over in their mind like stones smoothed by time. If you've ever wondered why deep thinkers often seem melancholy, it's not sadness, it's awareness. It's the understanding that beauty and loss are always intertwined, that everything we love eventually changes form. It's the acceptance that joy and grief are two notes in the same song. Psychologists sometimes call this emotional complexity, the ability to experience mixed emotions simultaneously. It's not confusion, it's capacity. Deep thinkers don't label emotions as good or bad, they see them as information. Fear tells them what matters. Sadness reveals what they value. Joy reminds them what to protect. To them, every feeling has meaning if you listen long enough. But here's something many people don't realize about deep thinkers: they're not always serious. In fact, some of the funniest people you'll ever meet are deep thinkers. Because when you understand the absurdity of life, humor becomes a form of wisdom. They laugh not because they don't care, but because they see how fragile everything is, and laughter is how they hold it lightly. They know that sometimes the only sane response to a chaotic world is to smile at its madness. Still, deep thinkers often feel misunderstood. They can come across as distant when in reality, they're just lost in thought. They're not ignoring you. They're processing 10 layers of what you just said. They're trying to understand not just your words, but your intention, your tone, your emotion. They don't talk to win. They talk to connect. And when that connection doesn't happen, they retreat, not out of pride, but protection. Because here's the truth: deep thinkers feel deeply. They might appear calm on the outside, but inside, emotions swirl like a storm beneath still water. This emotional intensity isn't just a feeling. It's how their brain is wired. Studies show that people who engage in reflective thinking have stronger neural connections between the emotional and analytical parts of the brain. They literally think and feel at the same time. That's why they can't just turn off their thoughts. Their emotions are woven into their logic. To them, feeling is thinking, and sometimes that makes them misunderstood. People might call them distant, dramatic, or too complicated. But what they really are is aware. They see the hidden structure behind everything. How fear disguises itself as anger, how love hides behind pride, how people project what they can't accept. And once you see that deeply, it's hard to unsee it. It's hard to live simply when you've realized how complex everything is. Deep thinkers often struggle to be present, not because they don't want to be, but because their mind exists in timelines. They replay the past, analyze the present, and imagine 100 versions of the future all at once. It's exhausting, but it's also beautiful because it means they can see possibility where others see endings. They can find meaning even in pain. And that's what gives them resilience. Because to a deep thinker, even suffering is information. But maybe the hardest part of being a deep thinker is learning when to stop thinking. When to let go of needing to understand everything, when to accept that some answers don't exist yet. Because meaning, no matter how much we chase it, is something we create, not something we find. And that's the quiet irony. The same mind that searches endlessly for truth eventually learns that peace isn't in answers, it's in presence. It's in sitting beneath a sky that doesn't explain itself, but still feels infinite. It's in learning to live with questions and still feel complete. Because maybe that's the final stage of deep thinking, not knowing more but needing less. Not analyzing everything to death, but understanding that depth isn't about drowning in thought. It's about seeing clearly enough to float. If you love a deep thinker, you'll notice they value understanding more than agreement. They don't need you to think like them. They just want you to think with them. To question, to wonder, to explore life's mysteries side by side. Their love language is curiosity. Their affection is shown in attention, in remembering small details, in asking how you really are. But they also need patience, because they move slowly when it comes to trust. When they do finally let you in, it's because they've decided your soul is safe. Their love is not casual, it's conscious. There's something profoundly human about the way deep thinkers exist. They remind us that life isn't meant to be skimmed, that silence can be sacred, that not every moment needs to be filled with noise or certainty. In the end, the psychology of deep thinkers reveals something about all of us, that every person somewhere inside has the capacity to think deeply, to look beyond distraction and face themselves honestly. We just forget in the rush of life how powerful stillness can be. Maybe that's why deep thinkers exist, to slow the world down a little, to remind us that thought, when done with intention, is an act of love. Because thinking deeply isn't just about understanding the world. It's about cherishing it. It's about standing in awe of how complex we are, how fleeting time is, how beautiful imperfection can be. So if you're a deep thinker, don't apologize for your silence. Don't shrink your thoughts to fit smaller conversations. The world needs minds like yours. People who can see the invisible, question the obvious, and find meaning in the mundane. You might not always fit in, but you were never meant to. You were meant to see through. To turn chaos into clarity, noise into insight, and moments into meaning. Because deep thinking isn't just a way of understanding life. It's a way of honoring it. And while the world moves fast, you have something it often forgets: depth. And depth, in a shallow world, is its own kind of light. Thanks for watching. If this resonated with you, let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more content like this.